All right, we know seeing that story has brought up questions, and we're ready to help you get the answers. Now's your chance to ask a dermatologist the questions you have about sunscreen, the changes, the difference between those that protect against skin cancer or sunburn. Joining me now, Dr. Fred Quarles. He's a dermatologist. You know him well. He's a good friend of ours here on Midday. And we saw you earlier in the week talking about treating patients, actually, in another story that we did here who had sun damage and other problems. If you've got a question, 673-5420. What do you think about these changes? Long overdue?
Well, they are overdue. Like they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And the last speaker that you had said it was underwhelming. It is. It's not too little too late, though. It may be late, but it's not too late.
Okay.
And it's never too late to start protecting your skin.
All right. Michael's got a question for you. He's on the phone. Hey, Michael.
Hi, how are you this beautiful day?
Good.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Is there a difference between sunscreen and sunblock?
Well, really, sunblock and sunscreen are the same thing. They're synonymous. They block out ultraviolet light. So they're the same thing. But they will have, some of them will have more broad spectrum protection where you get UVA and UVB. So some sunblocks only block out UVB. We want UVA and UVB.
So when you're looking at a label, it doesn't really matter. You're not looking for sunblock or sunscreen. You want to look closer and make sure it says something like broad spectrum on it and mentions UVA and UVB protection.
Yes.
Okay, because the rest of it is just whatever the product wants to call it, right?
Right.
Okay.
And then the number over 50 will no longer be allowed.
Yeah.
Because that's more marketing as opposed to science. So they may be better over 50, but there's no way to determine how good it is over 50.
All right, let's go to Missy. She's our next caller. What's your question for Dr. Quarles?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, we have a baby here that has eczema real bad, and he scratches, like, to the point where he's, like, scratching blood, and they've given him prescriptions, but anything else?
Well, you know, that's something you should take up with your treating physician, and if you're seeing your primary care physician and you don't feel like you're getting enough from that, you may request to see the dermatologist. There may be some other things that can be done. But of course, we don't want scratching to bleeding.
Right.
Because when you break the skin, you allow bacteria to get in and become infected. So we need to be more proactive with that treatment. And she should consult her doctor about that.
All right, and like you said, don't be afraid to ask your pediatrician to refer you to a dermatologist.
Yes.
All right, Shauna's next. What's your question for Dr. Quarles?
Yes, I'm currently undergoing intense light pulse therapy treatment on my face, and the doctor has recommended that I use an SPF 50 or higher every day while I'm undergoing this therapy. But my question was about how often should I apply it, because I was just thought that if I put it on once a day, that was enough. But I just heard the advice given that it be every 2 hours, so I was curious about.
Well, that is true. Every 2 hours you should apply it. It depends on your activities also. If you're involved with water sports or you're perspiring a lot, you may need to apply it even more often. But this regulation that's coming down will address that, and they will have to show that these waterproof or sweat-proof sunscreens are actually doing that. But every 2 hours to be safe.
It's a good point, because, you know, being in the sun often goes with swimming at the beach or swimming in a pool, and you cover your kids and they jump right in, you know. All right, I think we have time to squeeze in one more phone call. Maurice out of Norfolk, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, what's your question for Dr. Quarles?
I'm using tanning lotion, tanning oil. Should I discontinue that and just use the sunblock?
Now, what was that? What type of lotion?
She says she's using tanning oil.
Tanning. Oh, there is no such thing as tanning oil. That's called burning oil. And, you know, it used to be get the copper tone tan. Let's put a little, you know, mineral oil on. That's not protecting you. You will get a tan, even with a sunscreen. And you really don't want more than you should have. So a tan is a sign of injury, actually.
Right.
So don't use tanning. Get that broad spectrum sunscreen, and you'll still get your brown skin or whatever it is, but don't abuse yourself. Take care of your skin.
All right, good advice that you need it for a long time. All right, you can, if you have more questions for Dr. Quarles, you can reach him in his Virginia Beach office, 490-6635, or in Hampton, 827-3046.